Oh, Taco! How about that one?
That's our new leaders right there.
Big Stewie!
University of Montevallo, 24-96. National champions, Wallace State, Briar Clinton. Hey there, everybody. Welcome into a new episode of the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking to Adrian College, ranked number 1 in the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year, presented by Abu Garcia. First standings for this new season, 2022-2023, came out just this week, so we're happy to have them on today. Our guests are going to be Caleb Dockenhouse and Hayden Scott, members of that Adrian College first place team there from Michigan. Caleb, we'll talk to you first here real quick. Tell me what the feeling's like, man. It seems as though I've been involved with this for probably 4 or 5 years now, helping maintain the points, and this time of year it's just like a regular part on our schedule that Adrian College is going to be here at the top of the standings to start the year, and we'll be talking to you guys throughout the fall. Tell me what it's like to be there now, kicking off a new season, and once again find yourselves in first place.
Yeah, for the 4 years I've been here, I'm a senior this year. We've been leading school of the year going into the fall every year, it seems like. I think this year is actually the smallest lead we've had. But we kind of get that advantage. We got a couple extra events in that late summer, kind of jump on the other schools. That will bring points back up in the winter, where we're kind of stuck inside. But it's awesome. The whole team's really excited about it. It's always a good motivation booster for these last couple tournaments we got going, Sandusky Bay, the Big Bass Bash, and then the Dardanelle AFCO Open. So the whole team's, really hype about it. We got a big freshman class coming in for us. They seem like they're going to, carry the path and blaze their own trail a little bit. So everyone's pretty excited about it.
Hayden, I'm going to send this next question your way here as we take a look at the schedule coming up for September in particular. You've got the Bassmaster College Series Championship, an MLF Northern Inside Your Conference at Lake Erie that Kayla mentioned, and also the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkeley here on our trail with the Association of Collegiate Anglers. That's happening over a course of like 2 or 3 weeks there at the beginning of September. Talk about the significance of that stretch. As we look at it, you guys have already gone out of conference once. You've had one in-conference event, so you're going to get your second in-conference event, of which some of these conferences haven't yet competed. Another double points at that Bassmaster Championship and double points at the Big Bass Bash. So right here early, you can really set the bar and put out, a lead for everybody to shoot for in that measuring stick. What does the next 3 or 4 weeks mean to the trajectory of the entire season as we look at that schedule right there?
Yeah, as it comes down to it, looking forward, any team that actually is trying to make a huge run at the School of the Year title, it's going to be super crucial in the next couple of weeks. As far as it pertains to the team, we're kind of just going out and trying to have the best finishes possible for the next couple of events because, the next one we're heading out to is that Bassmaster National Championship, and, the biggest goal for us is just trying to make it back to that bracket. I know Griffin and myself kind of have a salty taste from that last year, so, I got 2 more shots at it, and if I can make it back to it, that'd be huge. But, those next 3 or 4 events, it's jam-packed, and our freshman class is going to kind of get thrown to the wolves here a little bit just because they've never had to experience this fast turnaround and on top of the schoolwork. So it's going to be a good experience for our freshman class for sure, just to try to get that under their belt before this heavy spring semester that we're planning for. But, as far as School of the Year points and that kind of thing goes, if you're a school that's really trying to push and make it work to try to really compete in that School of the Year rank, this is going to be a huge turn for them for sure.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We've been managing the schedule, and requests have been coming in for school run events, and all the majors are updated on the website that people can see there at collegiatebasschampionship.com to know what points are going to, or what events are going to count for points rather, for the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. Hard to believe we've got a new school year already upon us. You guys probably either started class this week or getting ready to next week. But we had the preseason poll this summer, and a little bit of background on Adrian College. So I was doing some of that in preparation for the interview. And in the preseason poll, you guys were picked 5th, coming off a 4th place finish in the 21-22 School of the Year race. Prior to that, I think it had been multiple years in a row that the team had finished in 3rd. Caleb, you've mentioned there you've been there for 4 years now. Talk about the success. We look at any type of athletics, especially at the college level, to be inside of the top 5 for as many years in a row as you guys have, and to be in that conversation at the start of every season, that really says a lot about the depth of the program, the success of the program, and what Coach Borton's put in place for the team in general.
Yeah. So, I mean, the team has been awesome. All 4 years, when I was a freshman, the upperclassmen really took me under their wing, learned a lot from them. And I think that's kind of how the program's been able to kind of withstand the test of time. I mean, they've been in the top for as long as I can remember now. Every year they seem to end up in the top 5. And I think that's a true testament to just we got a lot of hammers and we got a lot of learners. We got a lot of guys, anxious to learn, hungry to learn, and we got a lot of guys that, are getting ready to move out of the college scene, kind of move on to, either the professional side or everyday life. And a lot of freshmen are going to, get some information passed down and kind of get them up to speed and keep this program rolling on.
That's one of the things that really stuck out to me when I first started helping here with the ACA and covering college fishing. When I was in school 10 or 12 years ago, Adrian College, I don't believe, had a team, or if they did, I was not familiar with them. And so once I started working here is when I began to figure out more about the team, the dynamic of it, what the guys had to say about the program and things like that. Hayden, I want to talk to you or kind of get your opinion in your time that you've been there. What makes Adrian different? Caleb talks about it some there, and I've heard the guys in the past talk about it, is the tightness of that program, the brotherhood amongst the anglers that are on that team, and the process that Coach has put in place where you're learning different things inside the industry. You're involved with the social media pages. You're working together as a group, as often as you can out at tournaments and things like that. Is there anything that sticks out to you that you feel like has helped to shape your career there at Adrian, or maybe is there something you've done to give back to these younger anglers that you're mentioning in the program this year to set up the team for success so that they can know the same stuff that you've learned along the way?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing with our program compared to other teams. There's a lot of other teams that they just they don't really get together until it's tournament time, and they just go their separate ways. They have their one part, and that's it. At Adrian here, I mean, all the guys, as soon as they step foot on campus or in that welcome read, we all get together, everybody introduce themselves, and from there on out, pretty much every single night, people are always together and talking, communicating, and we have probably the closest group of guys across the country as you can even imagine, just because if there's something that someone has a question about, if it's as far as the marketing side or the promotion side, then they'll talk to some guys on the team that are kind of invested into that industry, and they kind of learn from each other. Same thing if you're going to a tournament, like a tournament body of water that you've never been to before. If you sit down and talk to the guys, they'll share those little nuances they've learned from being on the team for the last 3 or 4 years, and that's a really critical thing, because when you jump in as a freshman and you go to a new body of water, you are kind of just jumping blind, hoping it goes the best that you can even try to. You can only strategize so much and put forth so much effort and get as much information. But those guys that have been around 3 or 4 years, like heck, I even talked to kids that have graduated 3 years before me, and they still help the team out in any way possible. So at this point, it's my final year, so I'm just trying to give back as much as I can to this younger class, and then I'm always going to be willing to help, and I'll always be in the program in some aspect moving forward. So as far as the team goes, we're super tight-knit, and everyone's it's a big brotherhood.
We're talking with Caleb Dockenhouse and Hayden Scott from top-ranked Adrian College in first place in the first standings of the year for the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. The team as a whole has earned 6,620 points. Couple of good starts along the way. 2 top 5s at a double points event has got them where they're at right now. Caleb, the success that a team from Michigan like you guys is able to have across the country, there has to be kind of a little bit of an X factor, something that works into y'all's favor that from back home. Can you credit it to any one thing? Is it maybe being able to fish a lot of finesse techniques, which I feel like it's kind of the non-northern angler's vision of what happens up there, is a lot of fishing with spinning rods, deep, clear water, light line, and using those tactics? Or is it maybe something else that we're not familiar with that, y'all feel like y'all can point to and say, man, because of where we live and what we experience out on the bodies of water here, we can take that to just about anywhere in the country and be successful?
Yeah, I think it has also a lot to do. We got a mix of guys from kind of the tri-state area. We got some guys from Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. And all three of those states have, very different types of fisheries. Michigan Great Lakes are a little bit different than like Lake Erie in Ohio, and the inland lakes in Indiana and Ohio are very different than the inland lakes in Michigan. And I think when it all comes together, all those lakes fish different, and a lot of those same techniques that we use at those different bodies of waters can relate to lakes down south. In the summertime, the TVA, it can become a finesse deal, and we know how to do that because, light line, fishing the Great Lakes and stuff. But in the springtime or the fall time when they get up shallow and in the grass, we got plenty of, even the Great Lakes has some wonderful largemouth fishing, especially in the grass. So I think that makes us all very diverse anglers with a lot of different things at our disposal that we can use to, better ourselves in these tournaments that are far away and kind of out of reach of the campus.
Hayden, yourself and a fellow teammate there at Adrian College were the winners of the Bassmaster College Championship just last year. Here in about a week or so, to be exact, you're going to have an opportunity to go out and defend that title. Talk about your mindset going into that. I know you touched on it a little bit, saying the goal is to make that classic bracket again so you can try and reach the ultimate goal of fishing the classic, I'm sure. What are you doing? What's going on in your mind as you're getting ready to gear up for this to, A, defend a title, and B, try and accomplish another goal that exceeds what y'all did last year?
Yeah, so ever since we've known it's been on Winyah Bay, we've been looking at maps. Griff and myself have just been shooting ideas back and forth, trying to get a game plan together. And then as of recently, we've been having to look at the tide charts and tide schedule. I've had some previous experience on the Chesapeake and Potomac. So as far as running tides go, I feel pretty comfortable about that. So as of recently, now it's dialing in when the tides are going to get right in certain spots, and then doing map study ever since that came out. But it's that big thing because, I've been fortunate enough to accomplish quite a bit in my college career, but I don't think anything's really even shaking a stick at that being on FS1 on that classic bracket, because there's a chance I might never get a chance to have a 1 in 8 shot of even qualifying to fish a Bassmaster Classic. So those odds alone, I know it's going to be a tough feat to accomplish because you're competing against 150 of the best teams in the country. And so if we could somehow just get in that top 3 and qualify for that bracket, that's all we could really ask for. But it's going to be an interesting event for sure. There's not a whole ton of a lot of history on Winyah Bay in the summertime, so we're going to be trying to figure that out on the way. But the last couple months, it's just been putting as much information together as possible and going out swinging, because that's pretty much where all our focus is going into that event next week.
There at that championship event, it will qualify for points to count towards the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. Strong start to the season here, having as many major double points events as we'll have before we flip the calendar over to the spring, and we know that the spring's always crazy when it comes to events, and one on top of another, and everyone's earning points and jockeying for position as we get ready for the end of the season. Caleb, looking ahead towards the end of the season, what are some things along the way here over the next 8 or 9 months that you guys are going to have to do, maybe look out for, maybe something you've learned from the past that you want to improve upon to be able to be where you want to be near the top of the standings when this all shakes out next May?
Yeah, so we've definitely been talking about that. We just had our first team meeting. School started this week. We've kind of been discussing that. One thing we always struggle with, it seems like, is those first couple tournaments of the year. We all kind of got cabin fever. We're still knocking the dust and the ice off of our stuff going down. And we seem to not be able to, get together all of our things and just come out really hard with the foot on the pedal those first couple tournaments. So we need to, adjust and do better at that. And then another thing we're thinking about is, maybe coming up with some type of thing we can do here in Michigan, over that fall-winter period to accrue some ACA points as well.
As we look forward here, last question for Hayden, kind of look into that crystal ball, and let's say that everything plays out into y'all's favor, everything comes together, and for the first time in the history of Adrian College, the team's able to win the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia and be ranked number 1 at the end of the season. you've achieved the championship that we're talking about and been at some of the highest levels in the sport. What would it mean when it's all said and done with this group that you've put blood, sweat, and tears in with for 4 years to be there on the shores of Lake Hartwell holding the School of the Year trophy with all your brothers?
Yeah, I mean, it would mean the world to all the guys, honestly, because we've had so many great anglers come through each and every year. I mean, last year's probably the best year we've had historically with their fall schedule, just coming off the national championship and then pretty much sweeping the field at our conference event on the MLF side. But, I mean, I would love to see it happen. Just realistically, I just can't see it, just because once this fall schedule is over, we're not going to be traveling in the winter with the gas prices the way they are. We just don't have the budget. So that's where all those southern teams down south are really going to excel and kind of chip away at the if we have that lead going into the fall or going into the winter. That's where those fall or southern schools are really going to excel. So I would love to see it happen. I just can't see it.
Well, get out there, put in the hard work. We hope to see you guys there at Kentucky Lake for the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkeley in a few weeks. Best of luck at the event here coming up soon there for the Bassmaster College Championship. Caleb and Hayden, again, thank y'all. Stay safe out there and good luck.
Yep, thank you.
We appreciate it, Kyle.
Fishing is all about connecting with nature. Then grabbing nature by the lip and holding it up for a picture.
To fishermen and other liars, the time you spent on the docks, the banks, the boats, the lines you cast, and the hooks you set. These moments you share with the people you love, the fish you never forget, and the tales that get taller with every retelling. Make memories that'll last a lifetime with Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.